The farmers arrive just as the sun begins to rise. This is the first step in transforming the ordinary. Mountain water flows over the cherries, where they are slowly turned by hand, session with perfection that elevates something ordinary into the extraordinary. Imagine waking up at dawn, when the world is still draped in a soft silver fog, and the first rays of sunlight barely touch the horizon. Now imagine standing on the slopes of the Blue Mountains in Jamaica, one of the most remote and breathtaking coffee-growing regions on Earth. The air is crisp, slightly cool, and carries the scent of rich, fertile soil. Mist rolls gently across the hills, winding between endless rows of coffee plants, each plant heavy with glossy red berries, hanging like jewels in the morning light. These berries, these coffee cherries, may look ordinary at first glance, but they hold within them the potential to become one of the world's most luxurious coffees, a drink that sells for over $1,000 per jar. Every cherry is unique, and every bean tells a story of patience, precision, and craft. The farmers arrive just as the sun begins to rise. They walk slowly, deliberately, along narrow, uneven paths, carrying baskets over their shoulders, each basket waiting to be filled with only the ripest cherries. The picking process is meticulous. One by one, they inspect each berry, squeezing gently, judging the firmness, examining the color, deciding whether it meets the strict standard. Any fruit that falls short is left behind to mature further. Nothing is rushed, nothing is wasted. This is the first step in transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. Once the cherries are picked, they are carried down the mountainside, still warm from the sun, to a processing station nestled in the hills. Here, the beans are carefully separated from their pulp. The process begins with washing. Crystal clear mountain water flows over the cherries, gently removing the outer layer, revealing the tiny green beans inside. The water is not rushed. Every movement is controlled, because even the smallest mistake can change the flavor forever. After washing, the beans are laid out to dry, not in massive industrial machines, but naturally spread across wooden racks under the Caribbean sun, where they are slowly turned by hand over the course of several days. The sun warms them, the gentle breeze caresses them, and the beans begin to change, their green hue softening, their aroma slowly developing, hints of chocolate, caramel, and subtle spices. This drying process is critical, because the flavor of a coffee bean is not just in its origin, but in how it is handled every step of the way. Once the beans are dried, the journey continues with roasting, a stage where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Unlike commercial coffee, these beans are roasted in small artisanal batches by master roasters, people whose hands and eyes have been trained for decades, sometimes even generations. Each batch is watched constantly, the temperature adjusted minute by minute, because just one extra second or one extra degree can alter the delicate balance of flavors. As the beans roast, the air fills with a rich, intoxicating aroma, a combination of earthiness, sweetness, and depth, like chocolate, like caramel, with subtle floral and spicy notes that hint at the complexity hidden within each tiny bean. Once roasted, the beans are allowed to rest, to release excess heat, to develop a more nuanced flavor profile. But the transformation does not stop here. Some batches are aged carefully in oak barrels formerly used for fine whiskey or rare wines. Time itself becomes an ingredient, allowing the flavors to mature, to deepen, to evolve. Each day, each week, the beans develop more complexity, more character, more luxury. Next comes grinding. But this is no ordinary grinding. Machines are avoided. Instead, skilled artisans grind the beans by hand, slowly, deliberately, preserving the subtle aromas, the delicate oils, the nuances that make this coffee so unique. Then comes the packaging. Every jar is selected, handcrafted glass, often with thick crystal-like walls, to preserve the flavor, to reflect the luxury inside. The labeling is equally meticulous. Gold foil, embossed logos, hand-applied, each seal inspected, ensuring it is perfect. Because luxury is defined in the smallest details. A jar of these beans, or a freshly brewed cup, can sell for over $1,000. Yes, one small coffee bean, transformed through patience, skill, and devotion into an experience, an indulgence, a work of art. But this story is not only about beans, or money, or luxury. It is about human touch, the care, the dedication, the obsession with perfection that elevates something ordinary into the extraordinary. Every cup carries a journey, from the misty slopes of Jamaica to the hands of connoisseurs around the globe, from sun-drenched hillsides to the quiet ritual of someone savoring the first sip, in a private home, a luxury hotel, or a high-end cafe. And the taste, it is unlike anything else. The first sip awakens your senses. The aroma lingers. The flavors unfold. Chocolate, caramel, spice, sometimes even a hint of citrus. A symphony in a cup, crafted with intention, with love, with centuries of knowledge guiding each step. When you drink this coffee, you are not just tasting a beverage. You are tasting history, tradition, mastery, and passion, all encapsulated in one simple bean, transformed into liquid gold. And as the sun sets over the Blue Mountains, casting long shadows across the mist, you realize that what makes this coffee extraordinary is not just its flavor, but the journey it took to get here, from the careful hands of farmers, to the patient artisans, to the glass jars sealed with gold. Every step is deliberate, every moment matters. So the next time you hold a simple coffee bean in your hand, remember, somewhere, it is being hand-picked, washed, sun-dried, roasted, aged, ground, bottled, labeled, and cherished. It is more than coffee. It is craftsmanship. It is art. It is luxury. And it all begins with a humble bean growing in the clouds on the misty mountains of Jamaica, waiting to become extraordinary.